Hello indie game fans, I have more content patches, DLC and 1.0 releases in this video, with some of these releasing on April the 20th or 420, with a number of bigger titles that I do think are of interest. Let's begin with Paths and Danger, a grimdark tactical RPG that was released out of early access and can be seen as a combination of Darkest Dungeon and Battle Brothers, which, if you're not familiar, are two of the best indie games out there. However, it is a more streamlined version of those games, but does have replayability in terms of the character classes and procedural generation of the world, making this one of interest. Of course, Postal 4 chose 420 to release out of early access, where this is the latest entry in a long-running open-world first-person shooter series that, let's just say, has quite the reputation. The earlier games were infamous in how crass they were and the inane things that you can do, with this looking to be a bigger, better version of Postal 2. The game begins with a comedy of errors that leaves our protagonist with almost nothing to his name, having to start anew in a new town, which is where the mayhem and destruction comes in. You might have realized that this is Postal 4, and I mentioned that it was the sequel to Postal 2, where Postal 3 was made by another developer and was horrendously received by players, so with the original team back at the helm, this got on the right track and should be one of interest. This video is brought to you by Chernobylite from developer The Farm 51 and publisher All In Games. More specifically, the next-gen console releases of the game will be out today, alongside existing PC, PS4 and Xbox One releases, where the next-gen versions have all the fancy tech that makes use of the power of these consoles, including 1080-60 support, use of the DualSense adaptive triggers, ray tracing and all that good stuff. This non-linear survival horror first-person shooter is set in a fictional interpretation of the Chernobyl exclusion zone in the wake of nuclear disaster, but if you have never played this, I do think it's worth checking out. It is Fallout or Stalker-like in some ways, where one of the most interesting aspects is that you can recruit and order team members around while you tackle a location, certainly being a game of interest. The developer of Last Slice did reach out, and since this title is free, there's no harm in me showing it off. It's an action brawler set in a world where pizza has become illegal, where you play as such a delivery person, beating up anyone that stands in your way in order to get pizza delivered on time. The pixel art is simple but effective, so for free, why not check this out? I honestly thought that this port would have occurred much sooner, but the news is that Don't Starve Together has launched on Switch, and in traditional Clay Entertainment fashion, has a gorgeous animated trailer as well. If you're not aware, Clay Entertainment is actually quite a large studio, where Tencent has a majority controlling stake in the company, so they are not indie at all, but I do marvel at how Don't Starve as a franchise has grown, with this title releasing in 2016 with continuous updates since then, which is very impressive. A wonderful life sim title that is not simply Animal Crossing at home is Hokko Life, currently in Steam Early Access, releasing the Mayor Merits update, where I'll leave you to the developer.
In the Mayor Merits update, you'll earn merits as you play the game. For example, the more time you spend with a design tool or fishing, the more merits you'll earn in those areas. Merits often come with a small perk designed to make your life in Hokko a bit easier, like allowing you to till soil in a radius, craftable bug and fish traps, a mini-map, or even a portable design and crafting tool. There are also a few more fun merits for you to unlock. By improving your town, you will unlock perks like the donation box, where villagers will gift you items and resources, and if you help your villagers out with their requests, you'll be able to ask them for help too, selecting a villager to send off on an errand for them to go and gather resources for you. Oh, and how about a weather control device to change the weather for a day? Perfect for capturing that ideal photo, regardless of the weather or even the season. That's just a quick taster of the new merits waiting for you in Hokko. There are over 75 in total, so there's plenty to do for new and existing players alike. I hope you enjoy the new update, and don't forget to join the Discord community where you can chat and share your experiences with other Hokko residents. Thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you again soon.
One of the more interesting roguelite strategy titles in recent memory is Dice Legacy, adding a roguelite element to the Euro-style board game where the developers are back with a paid DLC titled Corrupted Fates. As is video game tradition, Corruption's choice of colour is purple, which is quite evident in this trailer, but the key feature is that you can use cultists in your realm which have a whole new way of play, sacrificing dice to use arcane powers with a new ruler, technologies, policies, buildings and more, making this one for fans of the original.
Under siege by the vampire lord Daedalus. Rising up to defy his evil schemes is a band of heroes known as Myth Force. You can try to take a swing at me. I'll fight you ever.
For the honor of Eldred.
An amazing looking game that you might have missed is the not so indie Myth Force, a first-person roguelite RPG that has an interesting art style, looking like a Saturday morning cartoon from the 80s.
There's the way forward.
On your guard.
Only fools trespass on my domain.
It does of course look similar to Borderlands in some ways, with the timing perhaps being a little unfortunate due to the recent release of Tiny Tina's Wonderland, but this does have more of a classic fantasy setting with swords and bows and magic, even having 4-player co-op support. It does also come to us from developer Beamdog, who, most interestingly, has a history of remastering CRPGs like Baldur's Gate, Planescape Torment, Neverwinter Nights and Icewind Dale, so it's interesting to see what they do with this new IP.
Don't touch my equipment!
I'd be terrified if I hadn't minored in minions.
We're not getting through this without facing the big guy.
Come on then, let's finish this.
No more games. Death to all trespassers!
My dear student, if you are receiving this letter, it means that you are finally ready to take the last steps in your studies. With this delivery, you'll receive all of the equipment you need to finish the assignment, including your very own cookbook and magical cooking pot.
A cozy game of interest is Dragon Cafe, a puzzle adventure title where you need to make over 100 delicious desserts in order to graduate, and interestingly, is not a live sim title, but it is very adorable, making it worth a look.
And the memories that are gathered around sharing a treat with loved ones. I want you to go out there and explore to your heart's content. Be inspired by those you meet and fill out the pages of your cookbook with new dishes. But most of all, I want you to have fun and let your imagination play. I think that'll do. Fly safe, little one.
I love my roguelites, so of course, Blade Assault version 1.2 is of interest, the latest free update to a roguelite platformer from a Korean developer. Notably, this adds a 4th playable character in Jet, one that is pretty much Jax from Mortal Kombat, using mechanical gauntlets to punch his way through enemies. It does also add a drone customization system and a new mysterious NPC, where the action and pixel art makes this of note, taking the number 1 spot. For more roguelite titles, watch these videos and I will see you after the jump.